My birthday meltdown. Did my revenge on my aunt and cousin go too far? You wouldn't believe what happened at my birthday party. It was supposed to be a celebration of me turning another year older. Instead, it turned into a full-blown family drama explosion, all thanks to my Aunt Karen and her insufferable daughter, Emily. Buckle up, because this is a wild ride, and I'm still reeling from the aftermath. Karen, 41 years old, has been married to my 43-year-old uncle for a little over a year. Emily, Karen's 12-year-old daughter from a previous relationship, never had a father figure growing up. So, even though my uncle only entered her life when she was 9, he has always treated her like his own daughter. My uncle brought Karen and Emily into our family when their romance blossomed, and they have been at almost every gathering and family vacation since then. From day one, Karen was incredibly demanding and would try to manipulate everyone around her to get what she wanted. Honestly, I couldn't stand her. She didn't respect anyone, and her sense of entitlement was through the roof. For instance, she would consistently arrive 45 minutes to an hour late for events, even when she knew punctuality was crucial. And she never apologized. She would always ask people to run errands for her, anything she didn't feel like doing herself. She even stated on multiple occasions that she expected to be treated like royalty, a princess, even. My uncle seemed perfectly fine with this dynamic, and the rest of my family mostly kept their opinions to themselves, hoping things would improve. But Emily was a whole different level of problem. I could spend hours listing all the rude and entitled things she has done, but I'll try to give you the highlights. I was 20 years old when Emily was first introduced to us, and I usually sat at the adult table. Almost immediately, she demanded that either she sit with the adults or I return to the children's table, because apparently, it was unfair that I was sitting with them while she, a mere 10-year-old lest we forget, was stuck with the kids. My aunt actually told me to go sit with the kids instead of telling her daughter that I was an adult and she was a child. She even said that if I was too immature to move tables, I didn't deserve to be at the adults' table, especially since I was much older than the other children, who were between the ages of 7 and 14. From then on, she made sure I sat with the kids every single time, even when I was working or doing something else entirely. Emily would constantly badger me to play with her, and when I refused, I'd get reprimanded by her mother for being a bad cousin and making a child cry. I was even forced to play with her, but of course, Emily would only ever ask me to do things for her, especially letting her borrow my clothes and makeup. When I said no, she would throw massive tantrums. First of all, she never asked permission, and second, she wasn't old enough to be wearing my stuff. But I was always pressured to give in because of her mother. And whenever I got upset with Emily, my aunt would dismiss it with a simple, "She's just a child." Emily also destroyed a lot of my belongings, mostly because she was so envious of me. She wanted everything I had and expected me to hand it over. At my bachelor party, Emily was upset that she wasn't getting the same attention or celebration, so the very next day, my aunt threw her a similar party at the same location. Emily would ask her mother for, and inevitably receive, every gift I owned. Even my birthdays started revolving around her, and since she was still young, I tried to be patient. But as she got older, her behavior only seemed to get worse. If anything, she was becoming more entitled. Fast forward to 2 days ago, my birthday. We decided to hold the celebration in my grandparents' garden in June to ensure nice weather, even though my birthday is in early May. As soon as she arrived, Emily started complaining that we were celebrating my birthday a month late. Then she suggested that, since it was close to her birthday, which is November 29th, for the record, we could celebrate hers as well. Since she didn't really have a birthday, completely ignoring the fact that we always got her amazing presents and Karen always made a big deal out of it. She whined about it for a solid 10 minutes until her mother gave in and asked my grandmother to get her another cake with candles. Then Emily started complaining that, since she had no presents and I had tons, we should just share. Karen chimed in, saying people still had time to go get her something. I was livid. That's when I snapped. When I was visiting my grandmother's place, I asked her if she had any cardboard boxes I could use. When she asked why, I grabbed one, went back to my car, and then I pretended to wrap it up as her birthday gift. "Congratulations on being such a spoiled brat," was the only thing I wrote inside the box I brought. "Don't worry, though, your entitled mother brought you up that way. I hope your present is enjoyable." Okay, I know it was juvenile, but I was beyond fed up. For the past 3 years, she had ruined the most important events in my life. And of course, when we sang happy birthday to me, Emily and Karen made sure to sing happy birthday, dear Emily, loud enough to drown out everyone else. I figured she wouldn't be smiling for long. And I was right. As soon as she opened my gift and saw what I had written, she started screaming and throwing a fit. I just smiled at her the whole time. Her mother, predictably, started yelling at me and calling me all sorts of names. Karen and Emily stormed out, and since nobody really liked them anyway, the rest of my family didn't really react. However, my uncle and even some other family members have been texting me nonstop, saying that I was a big jerk for spoiling a little girl's birthday. Even though I don't really regret what I did, I keep wondering if maybe I went too far, so I haven't responded to any of them. Most recently, my dad called me, He started by telling me that right before he contacted me, my uncle had called him and said he understood my perspective and didn't blame me for what I said. However, my uncle also argued that I should have known better than to destroy Emily's precious moment by humiliating her in front of everyone. Never mind that she was humiliating herself by trying to steal someone else's birthday. My dad told him that Emily had been bothering me nonstop for years. He also pointed out that she shouldn't have had a special moment because she shouldn't have had any moment at all. My dad said he thinks my uncle couldn't say he agreed with me because Karen would have been upset with him, but my uncle seemed to understand. My uncle added that he felt saddened by the disputes in our family, since he only wanted his family to be happy and didn't want to miss seeing my dad or my grandparents. My father retorted that he ought to share that with his wife, because our family had always been content and drama-free until she arrived. My uncle then asked my dad to ask me to apologize to Karen and Emily in order for us to move past this. My father assured him that although he would speak with me, he would support me and understand if I didn't want to apologize. I informed my father that I would not be offering an apology and that I wanted a sincere apology from Karen and Emily for their years-long mistreatment of me. Until then, they wouldn't be invited to any events involving me, and I would simply ignore them. My dad also told my uncle that he didn't even understand why he was with Karen, and that he should really get a divorce from her because she mistreated him and everyone else. My dad didn't elaborate on it, but according to my uncle, it was complicated. My uncle claims that an increasing number of family members have been messaging Karen to let her know that her actions were inappropriate, and she claims that I started a hate train against her. My uncle sort of holds me responsible for this. I told my dad that I thought she was the one who started it. He said it was especially awful because she was receiving texts from relatives who weren't even at my birthday. I realized that no one has spoken up for the past 3 years, but I think it went a bit too far, but eventually it had to come out. My uncle also asked my dad to invite me to his house either today or tomorrow to try and talk with Karen and Emily in an attempt to resolve the situation. He said I didn't have to go if I didn't want to. I told him that I might go if my parents accompanied me, but I wouldn't go alone because I was sick of being tormented by Karen and Emily. I'm not really sure if I should go. I have so much more to say, but I don't think they will suddenly understand that they have been awful. I know Karen will never change, but I keep convincing myself that maybe Emily will, and she will learn to grow up to be a respectable adult. Additionally, I feel like I need to try to make things better, since I think that everyone texting Karen is going a bit too far. I want things to get better. I truly have no idea what to do. Update: I recently returned from seeing my uncle, Karen and Emily. Before I tell you how it went, I want to make a few clarifications. Many of you advised me against posting my most recent updates since it would only result in an apology and make no difference. But at least I could get it off my chest and stop thinking about it, knowing that I had said what I had to say, even if it didn't alter anything or make them realize how terrible their behavior truly was. In addition, I stated that I would only go if my father accompanied, if we met in a park rather than at their house, if they allowed me to talk without interrupting, and if they didn't anticipate an apology. I had also made it clear that if I felt uncomfortable, or if any of these requirements weren't met, I would leave. I don't blame anyone for not speaking up earlier, and I don't blame myself for not responding sooner. In response to some of the comments on my previous post, I merely wanted to keep my family harmonious, primarily for the benefit of my grandparents. They value family much and find it really painful when their relatives argue. I don't really regret not saying something sooner, even though I know I could have and perhaps should have. Anyway, let's get to the exciting stuff. I met them in a park approximately an hour ago, and this is how it went. I had a list of things I wanted to say, which was essentially a rundown of all the times Emily or Karen had acted like entitled brats. I informed them of this and went into great detail about how disrespectful that was. I'm fairly pleased with myself for maintaining my composure the entire time. Thus, it was a good beginning. After I was done, Karen began to argue that I was essentially whining, that the issues were pointless, trivial and unimportant. However, I shared with them both minor and major issues, since I wanted to share everything that has disturbed me. Karen then acted as though she had only heard me discuss the minor matters, like Emily wanting to try on my makeup, asking me to play with my cousin, or some of the minor remarks they had made about me. I went on to tell her that she was well aware that wasn't the main issue, and that if everyone was having the same issues with her, that she was the real problem. So she simply stated, "This family doesn't know how to treat new people," to which I didn't respond. My uncle said as he entered the conversation at that point, "Why did you insist on talking to her if you didn't want her to tell you what was wrong?" I believe she simply muttered, "That's it. We're leaving," since she was too surprised to yell. Emily turned to me and said, "Sorry I ruined your stuff and your birthday," before she and her mother left. I would say that this talk went better than I had anticipated, especially considering my lack of optimism and low expectations. Her mother didn't perceive the issue, but Emily's apologies seemed sincere. No, I'm not sure if it was. I'm aware, therefore, that she was not asked to apologize. It's okay that Karen didn't see the issue, because I didn't anticipate her doing so. Despite the fact that my uncle will likely face consequences, I'm glad he spoke to Karen the way he did. My dad is relieved, and we could all move on now that it was over. Update 3. As I indicated in my previous essay, my uncle advised Karen not to come if she didn't want an explanation. I warned him that saying that would get him into trouble at home, and I was correct. My uncle arrived at our house with a suitcase about an hour ago and asked my dad if he could stay with us. After we told him to come in, he told us what had happened, and we realized right away that he had gotten into a quarrel with Karen. I'll do my best to recall what I can. After I spoke with them, Karen ignored my uncle for the remainder of the day and gave him the silent treatment when they came home. To be honest, given how manipulative she is, I'm not particularly surprised by it. She knew just how to apologize and make him feel horrible, but my uncle simply took his penalty because he didn't want to apologize. When he overheard Karen telling Emily that it was quite acceptable to cause chaos, my uncle finally had enough and stepped in. In essence, she told her that it simply made her a strong, independent and determined woman, and that people became irate because they were afraid of that, and didn't want her to be in a position of authority. He interjected, claiming that those who were truly successful knew how to achieve their goals while showing respect for others and that being disrespectful was unacceptable. In response to his constant defense of his niece, Karen supposedly became quite irate and began yelling. After that, my uncle informed her that what I had told her was true and based on her actual actions. He advised her to alter her conduct and acknowledged that she was the issue if it caused her to feel uneasy or irate. He got weary of her ranting and decided to take a drive because she kept yelling at him. She had placed a bag with some of his belongings in front of the door and locked him outside when he returned. Thus, he visited our home. Since she isn't responding to him right now, he is considering calling a divorce lawyer, which he plans to attempt tomorrow. Karen doesn't respond to calls, even though my grandparents have tried calling her. I regret that I started all of this, but it also eventually helped him see what a horrible person she is. I think I may have been a catalyst to bring out his breaking point, but it feels nice for him to finally open his eyes. The fact that Emily will only have her mother to teach her right from wrong if they divorce, and that she will most likely wind up like her, saddens me the most. I'm not sure if she will ever change, which saddens me because I thought she was beginning to recognize how disrespectful her actions had been. Thanks for sticking with me through this insane saga. So, Reddit, given everything you've heard, did I overreact? Was I wrong to expose my aunt and cousin like that, even after years of their entitled behavior? Let me know what you think. I'm really curious to hear your perspectives because I'm not sure if I went too far and now feel guilty to have caused so much family turmoil, so share your thoughts and opinions on the matter.